If you were a schoolgirl turned into a nasty spider but cuter, what would you do? You'll have to eat the rotten flesh of your siblings and face never-before-seen monsters in order to escape this deadly underground labyrinth without creaming your pants. I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the Elro labyrinth in So I'm a Spider, So What? This nameless school and interchangeable classmates sit and get ready for another day of learning when a huge explosion happens, brutally killing the entire school. This person, we'll call her Kumoko, wakes up in the middle of some rubble and realizes while she was a lonely loser in her own world, she is still a lonely loser in this one, but even more ugly. Not even her new spider mother wants her and tries to eat her. She runs off and tries to figure out what's going on, but realizes this is the exact type of situation that would give some characters some appraisal skills. And she's damn right. She suddenly starts talking inside her own head, and she names that person Miss Appraisal, alerting Kumoko that she has 100 skill points and can use all of them to learn level 1 appraisal skills. She accepts skill 1 and thanks the power of Isekai for it. She tests out her sweet skills on the environment, but Miss Appraisal gives her a hard time and becomes more chatty, making Kumoko instantly regret learning this skill. That's what her stomach, we'll name it Miss Tummy, tells Kumoko that they're hungry as balls and start exploring this unknown cave, realizing she's not alone in the worst way possible. It's better to be alone than surrounded by hungry friends. She tracks some human footprints and rushes to be saved, but spots this corpse spider, her little brother, causing her to cream her pants in fear with webbing, and she realizes that this nasty creamy protein will actually save her life. She blows a couple of loads and creates her home with it, but with no food in sight, she is forced to eat her own dead brother, and then throws up on it, and then eats it again, but this time with some throw-up sauce on it. Delicious. Obtaining the title of Kin Eater, she earns Taboo Skill Level 1 and Level 1 Heretic Magic. She has no idea what this means, just as she runs into a deadly frog. It shoots her a wet, poisonous kiss, partially blinding her, but she levels up her Acid Resistance Level 1 and lets her attack the frog in blind fury, and levels up again, bumping up Acid Resistance to Level 2 before going behind it to devour its flesh. Getting the hang of her new body, Miss Tummy orders her to go catch more food, collecting even more points. Suddenly, her body creates a new shell, and she evolves into the small lesser Pterodactyl spider, increasing from Level 1 to Level 2, upgrading her other skills along with it. But then she spots someone trapped in her webs nearby. It's a human. He sets the web on fire and escapes. For safety, Kumoko decides to upgrade her spunk mansion, creating a whole sink without water, living room without TV, and a bedroom without a body pillow. This is absolute insanity. But then she spots the egg that the human was carrying earlier, unable to get into it, even with her appraisal skill gone up to Level 2. All that Miss Appraisal can tell her is that this egg is an earthworm egg. But that's when she notices her spider house alarm detecting footsteps incoming, and it's more than one, multiple attackers. The human army shows up in force, setting her house on fire, forcing Kumoko to escape and hide from them. They take back the totally not important worm egg back with them. She gets mad that she's so weak and decides to take on more monster and become the baddest overpowered character ever. But for now, she still sucks balls. More powerless than a young chud, she realizes that she can't win unless she starts thinking like a human. All pooped out, she takes a Spidey nap till the morning, but that's when her arachnid senses tells her something's coming. This gigantic snake. Okay, we could run, but this is an isekai, which means we gotta work our way up the progression ladder anyways, so you might as well take what you can get. If you're ever up against a giant snake in a cave as a spider, here's what I do to stay alive. Snake eyes play a big role in their hunting and have to adapt depending on their environment. Since we're underground where it's dark, it's likely that this snake relies on infrared radiation to sense the heat and color signatures of their prey, and they do this through the holes on their face known as pit organs that pick up different sources of heat. However, I would first rush to go through this small tunnel here to collect 1 or 2 pieces of rocks and create a web like what Kumoko did here, but attach tons of rocks onto it and lure the snake into attacking us. This would not only get our web stuck on its face, but the rocks as well, blinding it from us. Because one way to block infrared is by using infrared blocking technology, and while stuff like aluminum could sure block these signals and prevent the snake from seeing our heat wave, there's other stuff found in nature that can also do the same thing, such as wood, bricks, and rocks. Blinding the snake with our stone-covered webbing would block its actual vision, but also its heat vision, giving us an opportunity to jump on the snake while bringing it down in a much more safe way, without risking dying before the video even really starts, and do what Kumoko did here, but much better. She wins the deathmatch, and gets new armor with more skills. Spider Thread skill increases to level 7. Venom Fang increases to level 6. She gets the ability to evolve and gets offered a newer and more powerful body, but it's slower. And Kumoko thinks that it's not about size that counts, but what you do with the size, and picks the smaller, more evolved spider instead. Passing out from the transformation, she wakes up later and is shocked to see her new badassness, and has no idea she's about to be forced to face 5 different horrifying monsters in the next few minutes. Kumoko takes orders from Miss Tummy eating the snake on her behalf, and she tests out her new skills, thread control and detection, and discovers she now controls her sniper spunk even better. And just then, she senses more humans and scans them, and they outrank her by a lot, forcing her to hide, but runs into another snake from the front and humans from the back. Dodging more monsters in the frenzy, she gets overwhelmed and falls down this cliff. Clocking another beast, she hides again, and now can only count on stealth to survive. Hearing more pounding footsteps, an Elro Greshigar Mantis shows up. Miss Appraisal tells her this monster lives in the lower level, the lower stratum of this labyrinth, finding out she's in the Great Elro Labyrinth. Another creature shows up, a Greater Terratect level 18, and brutally rips this one apart. Rushing away, Kumoko hides once again and realizes something shocking, but Miss Tummy signals again it's time for lunch. The monsters of the higher levels are in this lower level. She spots this Elro Gastuch level 3, but cannot scan its stats. Hungry, she takes a bite out of it, realizing her biggest mistake. All of the native creatures here are poisonous. Suddenly feeling horrible but too cool for dysentery, she levels up her rot resistance to level 3 and tries eating the poisonous creature again, but no dice, and continues to look for food. Running into another monster, she obtains new poison web skills, and her Venom Fang increases to level 8, and she synthesizes weak spider venom and rushes over to see more monsters, leveling up her appraisal skill. Trying to hide, she gets spotted. With no choice, she fights against this primate and feasts on its flesh, leveling up to level 4, and also achieving a basic stat increase. And the monkey lets out a terrifying scream before dying, and she thinks the worst is over. Kumoko sets up her new home, but then she hears a loud rumble, getting louder and more vicious. A whole monster army has shown up at her door. Hordes try to climb up to rip her flesh, but can't. Desperate, Kumoko tries to escape onto the ledge, but gets hit by incoming rocks, realizing that she can't escape, and if she stays here, she's dead. Okay, this whole thing was obvious as hell, and Kumoko could have escaped by taking it all out of a spider's playbook known as the Hobo Spider. It was obvious that shit was about to hit the fan the moment she killed that first monkey. If you look at where monkeys descend from, and combine that with research in the field of evolutionary biology, in animal communication, an alarm signal is a form of signal emitted from animals based on danger. If shit hits the fan, animals like many birds, fish, and primates are able to basically tell others that there is danger in the area. However, one of the reasons is not only to warn other animals, but also to attract the attention of other more dangerous animals to its location, which is known as predator-directed signaling. This is when one animal in danger calls out more attention to itself, hoping that something even more deadly will come its way to kill the threat it's currently facing, putting itself in much more danger for a possible chance at escape. In either case, the monkey screaming its tits off before its death means it was pretty obvious to assume that it put a target on our back. The fact that we are now surrounded by an army likely means that they're here to kill us, since a large group of animals being mobilized in such an order wouldn't really happen unless they felt we were a direct threat to their environment. Because instead of running away, they showed up on the battlefield, which means they're out for blood. It means that Kumoko here should have been prepared accordingly. She has the skills, like setting up traps or multiple escape routes, that spiders are known to be capable of, as there were many varieties that she could have tried incorporating or combining depending on her skills, like by doing what hobo spiders do and create some funnel webs, which are flat horizontal webs with a funnel tube that leads into a spider's home, and this is how they catch prey. But this type of web is also designed with a back entrance in mind if they need to escape, and doing this could have provided a 360-degree form of protection from long-range monkey weapons such as rocks that she could have set up in advance. The point is, she was too carefree, and now this is gonna cost her. She flings her webs to shield herself, temporarily stopping the monkeys, but they quickly start to overwhelm her and close in, ripping her legs apart, leaving her crippled. About to die, she gains enough points to evolve to level 5 and recovers her HP in full. Thinking fast, she comes up with a new plan, splooging and sideways wall run, and takes down her web wall and kills all of these monkeys and increases to level 7. But that's when more monsters show up, upgraded versions of her previous enemy. Jumping back up to her nearest spot, she tries to repeat her tactics, but realizes that these monsters have evolved and quickly start coming up. But one surprises her from above and brutally tears her in half. Nearly dead, she shoots her web to hang on from falling and uses poison synthesis to counter strike, and she starts falling to her doom. But then at the very last second, she increases her level to level 9, healing yet again, and wins this monkey battle. She heads back down to the lower level of the labyrinth, where the lower class enemies are, but still gets her ass burned by this haughty magma dragon, temporarily destroying her web hole. She now can't use her spider threat and wonders if it's possible to reach the upper stratum without clearing the middle level in order to save time. But then she realizes she'll need to evolve first and grind out some levels in order to collect enough power points. Then she'll be able to take on the middle level and work her way up. Grinding through, she finally collects enough points to change into a new form, named the Smaller Poison Terratech, level 1. Miss Appraisal tells her skill on appraisal is now great, and she checks out what skills she needs to clear the middle level, seeing something known as Pride Skill. Now the skill is too complicated for one-liner explanation, but basically it's overpowered as hell, leveling up all her stats, and obtains the title the Ruler of Pride and gets Abyss Magic level 10, including this Hades skill. And now cue the training montage.
I'll call myself Demon Lord. I am Spider.
Okay, now that that's done, drunk on power, she now also wants to learn how to use magic and become a cool magic girl. But then her Miss Tummy orders her to go get lunch first, just as something blows up in her face and nearly kills her, spawning this Earth Dragon Kagna, level 26. But this one is different. Cornered, she is forced to escape to the middle level of the labyrinth, but the girl can't catch a break, and this seahorse comes back and hits her with a fireball, forcing her to test out her new upgrades. Not able to go into the lava or use her spider threads just yet, she notices the enemy has nearly used up all of its magic points, but that's when it comes out of the lava to chase her, but it's slow. She easily jumps on it and uses Venom Strike to kill it. About to dig in, this catfish from hell shows up too, and Kumoko's appraisal skill tells her that this thing swallows. That's its power. Thinking she isn't strong enough, she tries to leave but then gets cornered by 2 lava guzzlers. Okay, if I was Kumoko, I would have used the seahorse as a natural cover to mask our scent and stay out of sight until these monsters left, and could have used this corpse to take our opponents down. Alright, our specialty is long-range attacks like shooting venomous threads. Now these things are way too hot for our ropes to even get close to, which means we need to aim for its mouth. However, there's a much smarter and sneakier way to get them to swallow our long-range weapon without even trying, and we have exactly what we need right here, this dead seahorse corpse that we just passed, and stuff it like a Thanksgiving turkey. Shooting our poison trap into its mouth instead, and basically turn its body into a poison trap just waiting to be eaten. This catfish has evolved from the seahorse here, and basically has low intelligence, and relies more on physical attacks once it runs out of magic points, which means they won't be able to pick up on our tricks that we're about to do. Luring the catfish to us would be easy, and the moment they attack us, we would just dodge their attack with our super speed. But this time, not worry about shooting our deadly load into their mouth, since their big mouth would allow them to swallow the poisonous seahorse anyways, like what Kumoko did, but without needing to do anywhere near as much other than get out of the way last minute in order to win this battle. While powerful, Kumoko should have just relied on her environment and used her brains more instead of relying more on her skills. Realizing they have her cornered, she shoots venom threads but they burn off. Spotting their low health, she activates her poison synthesis to put into their mouth, killing this one while the other one gets scared off and increases the appraisal skill. She chows down on lunch but realizes this catfish from hell tastes like heaven and decides to go catfish hunting, blazing through another baddie encounter with an eel with a bunch of upgraded skills. She strongs arm it until she basically wins the match. She now has the choice to evolve again and chooses the smaller and deadlier choice, known as the Zoa L. Needing a safe place to evolve, she builds a sweet fort with leather snake interior and gets the most lethal makeover. Coming out in her newly evolved form, her Miss Tummy gets hungry again and begins eating the eel. Checking her skills, that's when she meets her new best friend, herself, and hears someone speak inside of her own head with her own voice, and discovers that she has activated the skill Parallel Mind level 1. Her clone has the ability to let the clone in her head do the thinking, while the real Kumoko can focus on combat if she wants, and basically has 2 brains, information brain and body brain. She also spots this really cool skill, the Evil Eye, and thinking that she can do some really cool anime shit with it. She tests it out and gains new skills in the process, and suddenly a loud static noise is heard. Miss Appraisal tells her that her request has been accepted by someone she's never heard before, Administrator D. She wonders who this D-bag is, and then she receives the skill known as Wisdom. The confusion puts Kumoko on edge and makes her realize that this isn't a game or real life, but how to be anime vid on her life in-game, losing her mind and begins to shred on this axe montage, but then decides to think positively and goes back to living her best spider life. Checking out what new skills she can use, the available list makes her think the administrator wants her to start using magic. Trying it out, her cute alter ego skill, Parallel Mind, makes a presentation for her on how to use magic, just as another person shows up in her head, a third independent mind. She'll be able to handle the original Kumoko's magic powers for the real Kumoko, but that's when the real world starts to rumble and Blast sends her back. Spotting corpses of tons of monsters, her next opponent blasts out. It's a fire dragon, Rend, level 20, a high-ranked dragon. Faster and stronger, it slams Kumoko before she can escape. With no choice, she uses all of her magic powers, including Evil Eye, but nothing works. But her weak poison could hit it where it hurts. Whipping up her dish, she swings around some incoming fireballs, but gets outsmarted and is about to become this dragon's lunch. Thinking quick, she uses her skill thought acceleration to slow down time and quickly adds extra poison to her planned attack. Her second brain helps her focus on navigation, while the main Kumoko aims her attack, shooting her poison ball into the dragon's mouth. But the dragon counters and avoids it, forcing her to make an emergency landing here and traps her. About to kill her, but that's when it realizes that she used the Phantom skill to create a fake image and is actually above it. Releasing another Venom Bomb and Rot combo, she overwhelms it, but somehow it pulls a 4D chess move, making her think it's dead. Nearly out of moves and energy, her alter egos help her create a Hell's Gate spell, Abyss Magic level 1, to clear the lava from the area and creates a proper arena to fight. Charging in, she goes berserk on this dragon's ass and rips it apart, and then levels up again from 16 to level 19. She now realizes that she needs just one more level to evolve again. The ground starts crumbling around her, and she quickly tries to drag her McHappy Meal out of there, not realizing that she's being watched by the administrator, who sends someone to meet her. Back at the spider's location, she practices her new skills, Heavy Evil Eye to slow down the enemy's movement, and is about to chow down when suddenly her spidey senses tells her something is coming. Using her thought acceleration skill, she slows down time enough for her to try and figure out who it is. A portal opens up and this mysterious man comes out. Kumoko knows that she is outclassed, but doesn't feel threatened. He starts talking to her, but she doesn't understand until he starts to speak Japanese. She wonders, is this some type of isekai language learning class? A phone then drops in out of nowhere anime style and confuses the crap out of her. The man picks it up and starts using a translator app. Man, this word was freaking amazing. The man then leaves Kumoko with the phone. Picking it up, someone on the other line addresses themselves as the administrator of the game, telling Kumoko that the man won't bother her anymore and can read minds. She finds out that the administrator has been watching her and never gets tired of the entertainment and shocks her. Kumoko asks what this person wants, but they don't want anything, just pure entertainment. This person is an evil god and likes watching people suffer, and tells Kumoko to keep on being the best channel and they'll chat soon, and awards her the skill of wisdom before the phone leaves. Confused as to what just happened, her alter egos come together to collect some clues. They realize the person on the phone can speak Japanese and can see hints of Japan here, but the real Kumoko tells her brains to stop overthinking and focus on their main job, get through the middle level of the labyrinth. Finding the road leading up to the final floor, she realizes that she is close to reaching the surface. Meanwhile, this group of humans enter into a tunnel on a mission to find the Nightmare of El Ro labyrinth. This handsome-looking silver fox gets led by this guy, Mr. 70's haircut, who has a kid, and tells him they're looking for a horrifying monster that has started chasing all the other monsters out of the place, forcing the monsters to get dangerously close to reaching the surface. And their target is a horrifying pterodactyl, ranked A or even S. 70's haircut is flipping his boobs off, but Silver Fox tells him to not worry because they got this. And then one of their soldiers gets stuck in this spider's web. They realize they've reached the pterodactyl's home, and they start to burn it to lure the monster out. And that's when it appears right above them and shows off more skills than any version of Fate's Stay Night. They've never seen a monster so powerful, and blocks their escape route and growls at them multiple times like it's trying to talk to them. Mr. 70's haircut says the spider is trying to escape to the surface. His men attack it, but they're way too weak and get brutally murdered. Silver Fox tells the leader that they don't got this and creates a portal to escape, but the pterodactyl pops one off. But Mr. 70's haircut takes the shot for Silver Fox just as they teleport back to their kingdom. Mr. 70's haircut thanks Silver Fox for his wise wisdom and kicks the bucket, leaving behind his kid for extra sadness. Back in the labyrinth, Kumoko gets so pissed that humans just burned her house, even though she did try just talking to them, and tells herself that it was just self-defense, and tells her alter egos that she marked the humans and hopefully they should lead them back to the surface. And she looks into leveling up her skill points to level 20 and looks into her next evolution, the Eda Sei, aka the Symbol of Death. She realizes that her skill descriptions are starting to make her sound like a demon lord and happily jokes about it, and she finally evolves, reaching this door stating it's taboo level 10. The game starts the next installation process. The word repent keeps flashing on the screen, and in the process, the taboo menu releases the total history of the world. She learns everything that has happened until this point and can only understand one thing. This world will soon be annihilated unless something changes, and she realizes it's up to her to save the world, but first must become way stronger in order to do this by taking out stronger monsters first. Her next big target, the Earth Dragon Araba. Her parallel minds tell her she's crazy, but she pimp slaps them and tells them to spider up. After they take this one out, they can track the humans to the surface. Okay, well, it seems like nothing crazy is happening here. Right now is the most important moment that I would take on this dragon by doing everything in my power to avoid it. Okay, this moment right now is what I would call an anchor point. The critical point in a journey or a game where anything we could do either causes everything right or wrong to happen, depending on what move we make in this moment. Which is why we have to be smart about this. If I was her, I would know based on all of the crazy shit that we've been through, we are clearly in an isekai. And this means that fighting the most dangerous creature in this game is a bad idea. I would first work on avoiding it in order to do something even smarter. Because we need to get so freaking overpowered that we don't even take damage. Taking a page right out of this stud's Small Ants vid. Right now, there is no rush to escape, and in order to escape, we have to face the ruler of the labyrinth. So what I would do is I would turn around and go back down to the middle levels that we were in earlier, and begin grinding and leveling up as much as we can with the least amount of effort possible, where the monsters here will be easier to kill for the most points that we can gain from them in return. As mentioned, the lower down we go, the more profit, but also the harder and more dangerous our enemies are going to be. While killing monsters near the upper level would be easier, we are going to have to grind a lot harder for points. And that's why if we go back down to the middle levels, this would guarantee that we have a nice balance of easier monsters that are worth higher points to kill, where we could gain XP in a sustained way and level up as much as we reasonably can before we go back down to face our greatest enemy. The lowest level is where Araba lives, but since he patrols the entire labyrinth, staying near the upper level would put us at a much higher risk of getting spotted by him, since by now he would have definitely heard about us and wouldn't want us to escape, because in reality fighting him right now without taking any precautions is the worst thing that we could do. Heading back down into the lower stratum, she runs into this snake with the most lethal stats that she's ever seen and hides from it. They try to plan their next move, but that's when her true target shows up. It has magic attacks and easily kills the snake monster, but then it spots Kumoko and fires this blast at her, forcing her to retreat, and considers going back to killing lower class enemies for now while she levels up, but then runs into another dragon specializing in speed. Avoiding a violent death, she leaves marks on them to know their whereabouts at all times, and decides to fight Araba dragon here in a more open area to avoid getting boxed in, but first kills some pesky wasps to top off on some skill points before her final battle. She reviews her powers with her other minds and then starts taking out all of the bees and gains skill points and is now ready to fight Araba. Suddenly Araba shows up without warning, catching her off guard. She quickly reacts, appearing from above, and uses her other minds to fire magic at it, but discovers that it has an insane healing ability, and this monster now thinks that she is a worthy opponent and attacks her with everything it's got, using ranged magic against Kumoko, and charges at her with speed. Reacting, she tries to use her evil eye powers, but it's too slow. Switching to poison synthesis and venom waterfall attacks, she finds out it's no use, and Araba is too fast, breaking through her web defense. Using a last-minute counter, Heretic Magic Phantom Pain attack, finally capturing him for a second, and bombards it with magic strikes for a few seconds. But then he bursts out and utilizes new tactics that shouldn't be possible, shocking her. He's actively been learning new skills in order to counter hers. She realizes that this beast truly thinks that she's a worthy adversary, and she's in trouble. He charges at her, forcing her to go upwards because of the flames around, and retreats to the ceiling until she hits a dead end. In a last-ditch move, she switches flight path and dives down below past Araba, healing with medicine synthesis, and crashes to the ground. She tries to run but gets impaled, and relies on Evil Eye, harming her in the process. The ground breaks and they both fall deeper through the labyrinth, taking more critical damage. She tries to grab the ledge but gets caught in Araba's mouth. Nearly out of health, she counters with Rot Attack and rots his face, freeing herself and using medicine synthesis. Araba, in a last-minute move, uses up his last amount of energy and gets ready to kill her. Kumoko, barely holding on to life, uses Sloth Attack, knocking him and her both down onto the ground floor. Out of health and using up all of his skill points, Araba can attack Kumoko, and she gets ready to kill him. But that's when he stands up, somehow using more energy than his power bars indicate. Kumoko thinks this is impossible. Dying, it looks at her and is happy, and Kumoko wonders why he isn't begging for his life, and it pisses her off that it looks happy to die, while she's struggling to live. It suddenly kicks the bucket himself and prevents Kumoko from being able to eat him, and Kumoko wonders why, even though she defeated her strongest opponent, she isn't happy, and she levels up to level 29. Pissed off, she has no choice but to finally escape the labyrinth, relying on the tracker that she put on the humans, and she finds the exit to the outside world, finally escaping, but still not free, and it's only just the beginning.
But what do you guys think about the video? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a thumbs up down below, and as always, don't forget to check out our How to Beat playlist.